I think it's very clear that nothing can change Donald Trump. Nothing is going to move him off of his strategy of being the biggest bigot, of being the biggest blowhard, of being the dumbest famous person we know. And oh, yeah, that guy was actually president. Nothing except maybe abortion rights. Donald Trump this week has been pressed, just like he's been pressed for many, many months now, just like he's been pressed since he was a candidate running in 2015 and 2016 about where he stands on abortion. Because, truth be told, all Trump wants to do when it comes to abortion is scream and brag about the number of abortions he's been responsible for. That's all he wants to do. He wants to just be like, and then I slept with her and I paid for it, if you know what I mean. Herschel Walker wasn't wrong. Like, he is itching to do that. But he's courted a psychotic Christian right. He's courted the zealots, and they're the reason that he was elected in the first place. And he is they're one another's lifeline. They're sort of committing it's a joint suicide pact, right? Until Jesus comes back and to Jerusalem and something, a bunch of Jews die, I guess, which is somehow not anti-Semitic. But obviously we know he's bragged about overturning Roe v. Wade. But this week he's been asked specifically about how he would vote in Florida. Remind you, he is Florida man number one. And they want to know where he stands specifically on Amendment 4, which protects the right to an abortion in the state of Florida. Now, I can imagine what an uphill battle that is for everyone working on that, but man, what a battle worth fighting for. The amendment states, no law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion before viability or when necessary to protect a patient's health as determined by the patient's healthcare provider. So standard stock, no matter how much the Florida state legislature and DeSantis want to pass some kind of anti-abortion restrictions, we stand by the right to do this. In fact, right now, in states that don't have this, and including Florida, people are dying. People are bleeding out. People are losing the ability to have children because they're not being attended to in proper ways when they actually are in obstetric nightmares of situations. But anyway, here he is. He was asked all about it. And this is what he had to say about Amendment 4.
Voting yes or no on Amendment 4 in Florida.
So I think 6 weeks, you need more time than 6 weeks. I've disagreed with that right from the early primaries. When I heard about it, I disagreed with it. At the same time, the Democrats are radical because the 9 months is just a ridiculous situation where you can do an abortion in the 9th month. And, you know, some of the states like Minnesota and other states have it where you could actually execute the baby after birth. And all of that stuff is unacceptable. So I'll be voting no for that reason.
Okay, so he's going to be voting no on protecting the right to an abortion. And now he has to say this, of course, but it does, and it might play well in Florida, and it might play well with the Christian right, who's like, hey, why aren't you celebrating the fact that we destroyed the ability for people to, have bodily autonomy? Why aren't you celebrating the fact that women are going into sepsis because they're being denied abortions? And it's like, because it doesn't really look good, because 62% of Americans were against the Supreme Court overturning Roe. That's why, because he's in a general effing election. It's why we're hearing the cop come out of Kamala Harris, right? She's in a general. She's trying to be more of a, tough on crime than Donald Trump. And so that's why he's been flip-flopping, and he's specifically been flip-flopping around, well, we'll have to see whether there's an abortion ban. There's got to be some consequences, but there won't be any consequences, but it'll be left up to the states. But if there, a piece of legislation comes across my desk, we'll have to see. He's not saying where he stands, but on Amendment 4, he's going to have to, because he's a voter in Florida. The problem is, people, the problem is, you think this dude is going to vote? You think my man is going to vote? No. He's going to vote for himself in November, and that's it. He's going to be one of those like, nah. Like, The only reason Trump's kids even started voting is because their dad was running for president. That's the kind of elitism, just tacky elites that we're talking about. I'm sorry, just putting that out there, because he's definitely not. He's gonna leave it blank, just in case I could say I left it blank. But again, now what's interesting, and this I think is important when you talk about abortion rights and the threat of Donald Trump ever getting near the White House again, is that the Christian right, the likes of Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, right? The people who have buoyed Trump, continue to do his bidding, and also he's doing theirs. They want fetal personhood, right? Which, forget whether there's a right to an abortion. If you enshrine the rights of a zygote, and we're talking 14th Amendment rights, like, which, by the way, the person carrying the zygote does not have. Remember, Roe v. Wade was established under the 14th Amendment, under the clause of the right to privacy. But I mean, Michael can talk about this maybe a little bit. We're going to talk about Central America. Again, I've said this before, but I visited to do a Nat Geo story. I visited El Salvador, which put the rights of the fetus into their constitution. And what did that mean? It meant anyone carrying a fetus was immediately a second-class citizen. It meant that a non-viable fetus, maybe given birth early, right, or was born early with no viability, would be hooked up to all kinds of machines and respirators, and hundreds of thousands of dollars be spent on probably one of the creepiest, saddest lives and moments that you can imagine. Ugh. Like, that's what it meant. Oh, it also meant, because I went to a women's prison, it meant that women were serving 30 years to 50 years for having supposed abortions, when in fact a lot of them just had miscarriages. So everything we've said, and I've called abortion rights like the permafrost of civil rights, because once it melts, all kinds of old, viruses and diseases from like the 18th, 17th, early, like the turn of the centuries, I don't know, but whenever, you know what I'm saying, a long time ago, anthrax, like that's the kind of abortion laws that we have now. That's the kind of slippery slope that we're getting now, is just the broad criminalization of women's bodies and reproductive systems. So, but there's Trump. So he's saying now he'll vote no, meaning he will support the right to, I mean, who knows? He's like, I don't like 6 weeks, but sure, it could be 6 weeks. But to temper that, Donald Trump is now saying, okay, well, I'm gonna pay for IVF. That's right. So joke's on you, because my administration, we're gonna let everybody have a baby. On us, baby, on us.
IVF has been an issue that has become political. Yeah. A lot of people talking about it. What's the Trump administration going to do when it comes to IVF if you get elected?
Right. Well, as you know, I was always for IVF right from the beginning. As soon as we heard about it, it's fertilization, and it's helping women and men and families, but it's helping women able to have a baby. Some have great difficulty, and a lot of them have been very happy with the results, as you know, and what we're doing. And we're doing this because we just think it's great, and we need great children, beautiful children in our country. We actually need them. And we are going to be, under the Trump administration, we are going to be paying for that treatment. So we are paying for that treatment.
All Americans who want it?
For all Americans that get it, all Americans that need it. So we're going to be paying for that treatment, or we're going to be mandating that the insurance company pay.
Okay, that last thing he said. So I love beautiful children, white children. I love them. We need more white babies and perfect, beautiful, cherubic white babies. And I've always been for IVF. I've been since the beginning. When I found out about it last week, I said, I'm for it. I love an IVF. I don't much like an IUD because it sounds like DUI. It's DUI backwards. Isn't that funny? So he has always been for it. Always been for IVF. Although in his heart of hearts, what he's like, but I don't shoot blanks. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's actually what he thinks. But so now he's saying the Trump administration is going to cover it. Oh, but at the end, there was like, or we're going to make sure your private healthcare industry insurance that costs way too much is going to cover it, or one of the two. Now, not only did he immediately like walk back the "we're gonna pay for it" line, but um, he also is going against what Republicans in the Senate literally just voted down. So because of, again, the Christian rights, insane galloping towards, The Handmaid's Tale come to life, a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, like IVF clinics are now under threat because if once an egg is fertilized, that egg is a person, then what happens to everyone who's, got embryos that are frozen, right? And families and people waiting to have a family or whatever it is." Um And so then some Republicans, but specifically Democrats on a nationwide level, they were like, "Okay, well, let's enshrine the right to IVF. Let's make sure that you have the right to IVF, that won't be rescinded, and that there is no weird obligation." Also, because there's another thing of like, what if there's a weird obligation to have every embryo, right? To make sure that embryo becomes a life. Um, and Republicans voted it down, including JD effing Vance, which we're going to get to in a little bit, because JD Vance is absolutely that guy. He is Mike Pence with like 5 degrees more of a personality, which again is not saying a lot. I mean, he's a frigid bitch. So I guess we're improving. The other option other than JD Vance's running mate was just a door. But that door, I mean, good ideas. Really, it opens, shuts. You know what I mean? Are you in, are you out? You know what I'm saying? It was a good slogan, but they went with the other guy. The point is that they're all over the place on this. They cannot be honest because they know that most Americans are for IVF and also for abortion care and abortion broadly. Most Americans are for privacy. They're for small government. And this is the most big government move of all. And my God, if Trump actually has the cojones to show up next Tuesday for the debate, which we will be covering live, and yes, it is my birthday, God damn it, then I hope to hell that Kamala Harris nails him on this and points out all of the ways that he's gone backwards and forwards and this and that. But tell me that he would veto a bill before him to create an abortion ban. And again, it doesn't even need to be an abortion ban bill. It could be a fetal personhood bill that he would sign, and it would do the exact same thing, if not worse. And again, I've said this, as soon as we can figure out how to get a Glock up into the uterus so that the little zygote can shoot, you know what I'm saying? Like, we'll work it out. Then their personhood will really, truly be complete as an American. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.